Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I was just checking. Okay, I'll probably take a little go away from to a different direction. We have all heard about Industry 4.0. It's the buzzword. Every board, every leadership is asking, what are you doing as manufacturing or QA or supply chain or logistics person? What are you doing in Industry 4.0, right? So, how do I do this? Okay, so frankly speaking, Industry 4.0 is about an elephant. And trust me, I can go around from each table and ask each one of you, and there will not be one single definition. Essentially, it's about the 6 blinds and the elephant. Every company, every industry, every individual is looking at it from a different point of view. Is it wrong? No, it's absolutely not wrong. Important thing is that, do you know your elephant? Do you know your elephant? And frankly speaking, each factory, each company, each organization will have a different elephant. And in that elephant, what have you discovered thus far? Very, very important. And it's driven by what is important for your business. So, when you are starting an Industry 4.0 journey, please do not get carried away by looking at the desk next door, the student sitting next to you and what he or she is doing, and then try to copy it. It may or may not work, because your triggers are going to be different. Your starting points in your journey are going to be different. Your starting point could be driven by a balance sheet instruction coming from the CFO. It could be coming from a regulatory requirement. It could be coming from a cost reduction opportunity, or it could be from anything. It could also be depending on what are your goals, long-term goals of the organization, short-term goals of the organization, and where you want to be, and what are your next milestone. So, frankly speaking, Industry 4.0, I want to break this myth that it's one thing fits all. It's not. It's your own private improvement journey, and feel confident about it and go for it. Now, then what is it? If it is my Industry 4.0 is different than your Industry 4.0, then his Industry 4.0, then her Industry 4.0, then what is it that actually we are talking about? And frankly speaking, I'm really going down to the bottom of the pit, really peeling the onion to its core, and really we are talking about only 3 things. And you go out, think about a SCADA system, think about a highest level of automation. First thing you're doing is you are trying to collect data in a touchless manner. Most important, are you able to collect your data in a touchless manner, and thus digitization of the KRA? There's one version of truth. That's one first important thing. Second important parameter in your Industry 4.0 journey is visualization of performance. Are you able to see the performance in a manner where you're able to interpret it, take actions, and take corrective actions? Now, of course, I'll come to blockchain and the latest technologies and all the FARs and this thing, but end of the day, at a bottom line, you are trying to achieve these 3 things. And third, are your processes and are your systems, are your technologies, are your implementation and installations talking to each other in a manner that they are complementing each other? And that's what is all about you are trying to achieve. This is frankly at the bottom of the pit, at the core of the onion, these 3 things you are doing. Naturally, to achieve this, you go higher and higher. Now, if you look at the technologies of today, there are enough and more, and of course, I don't want to read out the slide, but all of us have heard about all of these things. There are big data, there is cloud, there are sensors, there are artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and you name it. Big data is another important thing that is probably written in a different language. So the key thing here is that, are you able to leverage some of these or all of these technologies to really take your mission forward? And that is where the trick is. And as I said earlier, each one of you may not need a big data solution. Each of you each of you, and for each one of your problem statements, you don't need a blockchain. For each and one of your problems, you don't need augmented virtual reality kind of a scenarios. There are extremes. Probably 20% of your solutions need these complex technologies. 80% of your requirements are comparatively much simpler. So please use the right whip for the right horse, because you may overspend, and your neighbor, your next colleague, your next industry, your competitor might have very reasons to do it because he's at a different point in the maturity curve. I'll quickly talk about some of the, and frankly speaking, I work across the industry, from automobile to pharma to multiple other industries. And my thinking is that beverage industry is at the cusp of transformation. If I leave out the Coke and the Pepsis, potentially rest of the industry has a lot to catch up on, and there is enough and more things which are available to immediately grab and leverage. I mean, simple things like sensor-based technologies to track your OEE on a real-time basis on mobile phones or on television screens and all that. These are very simple, very low-cost technologies. There is one version of truth, and information is available on a real-time basis. Maintenance management systems, again, if I leave the bigger organizations, they are using SAP PM or some of the other bigger tools, or some of the IBM tools, etc. But again, this is something you can easily do. These are again technologies which have gone to the mobile phones. These are companies which have gone using simple technologies, QR codes and others. They are technologies which can actually sensor-based, which can read the vibration, temperature, IIoT-based technology, which can actually give you predictive maintenance performances. Not expensive, quick to do, and really shows up on the performance of the line or efficiency on an immediate basis. Because you have a better sense of control, because information is available on a real time. QMS, I think we have a different detailed session on QMS, so I'll not touch upon it. But frankly speaking, gone are the days when you are supposed to take readings or make a logbook. I think that the QMS is all about being touchless. You have Ethernet ports, you have online sensors and online measurement devices, which can actually build your analytics database on a real-time basis. Now that's when the fun starts. Once you have these kind of things, put a big data tool on top of it, and then start doing predictive analytics. So if I had a trend like this, then I will have a performance like this at this point of time into the future. If I have a run of this particular beverage and after this I follow it by this, then I will have this particular problem in the next batch. That is when the technologies will start co-playing with each other. But then please do not start from the other end of the race. Start from the basics and then complete your race accordingly. Warehousing and logistics, I mean, gone are the days, and frankly speaking, automobile industry has done a tremendous work on this. Gone are the days when you are trying to know how many trucks have left your factory, how many trucks have reached there, which product is where. These are all barcode, and barcode readers are not required. Your telephones can read it. Total touchless warehousing and logistics, and real-time visibility on a real-time basis. So basically, logistics is all about control tower now. You should have one single control tower which tells you about the entire status of logistics, and you have, let's say, 15 or 20 metrics across your warehousing and logistics. You report only what is not working well, and the control tower shows you only these 5 metrics which are out of control. Balance 20 which are working fine, who cares? They are working fine, so then it doesn't need my attention. And that management by exception is a very interesting thing which is happening in the warehousing logistics. Why I'm taking this as an example of management exception in case of warehousing logistics? Because this is one area where the number of metrics and number of touch points, internal, external, and tertiary and government and taxation and everything is too many. And that is why management by exception is a very good strategy for warehousing logistics. And in this area, there's enough and more IIoT and Industry 4.0 efforts available, and we do that across the industry. Thing. I'm taking one more use case for now. Another thing is blockchain. Now, we all, in the food industry, for example, and this being super critical, our entire thing starts from packaging manufacturing going up to the consumer. Now, in this entire journey, we all have heard, faced, fought in courts, etc., of the counterfeit product. How do you give the confidence to a consumer that what he is buying is most reliable, and there is a traceability from that point onwards to where back end up to whatever point he wants to, in an authentic, effortless manner? See, somebody takes me to court, then I go and prove it to him. This is what I use and all that. Cumbersome. A person buys a product, scans the code, and there itself he knows this preform came from this resin which was purchased on this date from Reliance, and then the blowing was done on this date onwards to it came to the retailer on this date and it came to me on today. Think about a world like that. And it's possible. The technology is available. Technology is being used. In fact, we work on this. We are working with, I can't disclose the name of the customers, but we are working with a couple of customers in India and some other countries where we will give them an end-to-end visibility of their product. Helps in two ways. One, consumer confidence. Second, you are able to build through this entire thing, you are able to establish a connect directly with the customer, with the consumer, because he can give you the feedback, you can run schemes for him, you can run promotions, you can get his feedback on your product, all that and more. And besides the counterfeit, which is a big problem. Now, I'll not take you to walk you through the details of it, but it actually, there's a whole technology behind it, but it starts from being able to identify, put a unique code on the package and the label, and actually take it back, including the track and trace, and up to the consumer interaction through the mobile application or whatever is the medium. And this technology is stood up, available. Important thing also is that the blockchain then can communicate with multiple other blockchains. So let's say this is our blockchain. There is another blockchain which is of the banking and of the transporter systems. Maybe it's about the shipping lines, and it will interact across all of them to create a real meaningful visibility to the entire stakeholder community. Last but not the least, very important, and I think I covered these points, that whenever you are taking a decision on what is important and what is it that you want to do in your Industry 4.0 journey, test it. It should actually try and satisfy one of these two, if not all, the parameters. First, is it taking decision making to the point of action? Very important. I mean, gone are the days when managers and supervisors will take decisions. I mean, the world is where the people wants to take decision. So first, any Industry 4.0 decision should push the decision making as further away from the managers and supervisor down to the hands of the person who is doing it. Second, does it eliminate the non-core activities that you are doing? Does it help you to focus on the core? Third, is it really going to cause your stakeholders, your customers, your consumers, your shareholders to be happier? Important parameter. A lot of times we get carried away in the technologies, but then we need to really answer these questions speed to market and elimination of waste. So those are the parameters, and really, so my last advice in the last line is that please do not jump the gun. Sit back on your Industry 4.0 journey, relax, think what is right for you, pick up the learnings from the colleagues, but do what is right for you and be totally ROI driven. If you're not getting an ROI, just don't do it. That's the purpose of Industry 4.0, to bring in that transformation for you. Use it wisely. Thank you very much.